All right, hey folks. So this is part 4 of the April Q&A, final part, and today I'll be just mopping up the questions from Instagram. So we will get straight into it. First question is from Callan. Callan is a Patreon supporter, so he gets first dibs on this section, and he says, "My touch and go bench is equal to my paused bench. What might the problem be?" So touch and go bench is you take the bar down, gently touch your chest, press it back up again. And a paused bench is where you pause it on the chest for a second or so and drive it back up. What might the problem be? There's no problem. There's no problem at all. There's absolutely no problem whatsoever. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's probably a good sign. Most people seem to think there's a large difference between a paused bench and a touch and go bench. There really isn't. There shouldn't be. Most people don't fail at the chest. They fail probably an inch or two off the chest, or maybe a little bit further up. My paused bench previously, when I was powerlifting, was almost the same as my touch and go. They're about even. So I don't see that it's much of an issue. I think this is something you see with people who are more trained. Like a beginner, intermediate, they're probably going to have a bit more of a difference. With yourself, like if you look at Callan's profile, he's a very thickly muscled guy. So he has a lot of strength along the entire range. Where he fails is about midway. It's not at the chest because he's a well-trained bencher. He's muscular and he's also good at benching. So that's probably why. I mean, I would say it's probably fairly close with most people, you know. I think possibly there's something to do with leverages as well with yourself individually, but I don't actually think that's that unusual in trained individuals. I mean, when I mean trained, I mean actually Callan is by all accounts an advanced trainee. I don't think it's that unusual in advanced trainees at all. As I say, mine was pretty much the same. It didn't make a difference to me whether I paused or I didn't pause. So in the same way as when I was deadlifting, it didn't make a difference if I strapped when I deadlifted, because I could always mix grip and pull anything that I wanted to at a competition. So when you're trained, those aren't things that are holding you back necessarily. So I think it's when you're an intermediate beginner, you have much more gaps in your strength, and that's when these things will hold you back. So yeah, I actually don't think it's that unusual. Anyway, Amanda P says, "What to do when you stall on a lift? I have done worse than previous week on dumbbell press for 4 weeks in a row now." That's a pretty bad sign. One arm will slow down and then stop, so I'll have to stop the set. Okay, something needs to change. I feel like we've potentially answered this question before, and I think I gave you a couple of ways to determine how to adjust your volume previously. So I'll just go over those again and talk a bit about body weight as well. So firstly, if you aren't progressing, then there are two possibilities really in terms of training. One, you're doing too much, or two, you're not doing enough. If we simplify, right, that's basically what it is. So to know if you're doing too much, you're sore, you're beat up, you can't recover. Okay, so that means pull back. Now, if you're not doing enough, then you're failing, but you're fresh. So you might be doing a very minimalistic training routine. I don't know. It would be helpful to see your training. Now, the other thing is, so that's how you can adjust your training to ignite some progress. If you're feeling sore and beat up, your shoulders aren't feeling good, then pull back. If you're feeling fresh, you're just not able to lift more and you're going backwards, then it probably means you're recovered fine and you actually need more work. And for the majority of people going from beginner to intermediate, they will need more. When you get to the advanced stage, that's usually when things start to pull down. You need less for various reasons, which are too much to go into in this video, but that's the general thing. So that's a couple of things with regards to training. Now, the other thing is with regards to body weight. What's going on with body weight? It's coming up to the summer. Are you dieting? Are you dropping body fat? Potentially you're in a deficit and you just need a break. You know, potentially you're in a deficit and you're dieting too hard. There's a lot of factors that could be pulled together. I think, you know what, Amanda, why don't you message me, email me at faz@fazlifts.co.uk and just send me your training routine and send me your, like, whether you're cutting or bulking and body weight. Just give me some background. It might be an idea, because I think you've asked me this question a couple of times now, so you clearly need help. So let me help you a little bit. Yeah, and why not? I'll plug my Patreon as well. Go on Patreon. There's a Q&A there too for every week, so we can have more of a conversation. But send me an email and let me see what I can do to help. Okay. But I personally feel it's going to be one of those. You're either doing too much or you're not doing enough. And it may be related to some kind of body weight issue. Again, when I look at these problems, I see all these potential factors and I need to nail them down. It's like, okay, we need to discount that, discount that, discount that. Here's the solution. At the moment, I can't do that with the information you've given me. So provide me with some more info. Email me and we'll go from there. Okay. Next question from Barbells and Bignitz. I don't know how you pronounce that. Have you done contrast training before? I follow this guy on Instagram. He has some pretty cool training and some good memes. Have you done contrast training before? I'm mostly curious on your thoughts on the pairing of explosive, so like clapping, box, depth, push-ups with bench press. Yep, I did. I did for a brief period of time in 2017, I think. It was during a period of, no, earlier than that, 2015. It was during a period of time, like after my powerlifting sort of career and before bodybuilding, where I wasn't really quite sure what I was doing. So I was just doing a lot of explosive kind of stuff, low depth jumps into squats, warming up with explosive, push-ups into bench presses, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I personally was doing it. I'm not sure why I was doing it. I was doing it because I didn't really have much of a direction. I didn't, and I wanted to be sort of CrossFit-y and agile without really committing to any one thing. So I was kind of in no man's land. I'd finished with powerlifting. I hadn't quite really begun my official bodybuilding sort of career. So I was kind of in the middle of no man's land. So I was doing a lot of stuff like that just for some kind of, I don't know, CrossFit, HIIT type of focus, which didn't really last because I didn't find it that interesting. I wouldn't say it's that useful for strength development based on where you're at currently, because I've seen your training. You are strong, but I don't think you're at the point where you'd benefit massively from those kind of things. I think there'd be more of a distraction for you than anything else. I think at the extreme levels of strength, potentially the type of strength which is not accompanied via the equivalent muscle gain, like something like a elite level sprinter might want, like a Usain Bolt. You might want just really, really explosive power rather than muscle that comes with it. I think that might have some applicability under those circumstances. But I would say for the vast majority of my audience, they're looking for muscle and strength, really. So I'm not sure how useful it is. And he says, thanks for all the content. I appreciate it. Okay, next question. Hopefully that was a good answer, dude. Let me know how that sounds. Right, next question is from Daniel. Now, Daniel has quite a long question. So I'm gonna try and condense this down. But he's on the wizard routine, right? Now he has two questions. So just to condense the first question, it's basically this. He says he's trying to do the whole 2 RIR and see a rep drop off, but his reps drop off far too much, so he can't stay within the range. That's okay, dude. Okay, as long as you're above 5 reps, you're fine. Okay, that's the basic answer to the first one. My answer was shorter than your question, but basically that's it. Now, what I will say is if you do tend to drop down below 5 reps, reduce the weight, and that enables you to stay in the rep range. Those are called down sets. I am actually going to do a video on down sets because I think you guys will need to know about that. I think you guys are really getting this, by the way. Okay, it feels very good for me as a educator, I guess, a coach, because I'm explaining these concepts and you guys are getting it. You're getting the fact that if you are just a constant rep scheme across, it's not like that hard training. You should push a bit harder. So your reps are starting to look like, say, 12, 9, 5. Great. So the next part of that is, let's say you're doing a lot of sets. Like in my training, if you go follow me on Instagram, with my training, I will be doing up to 5 sets per exercise by the end of this training block. And so by the end of next week, I'll be up to 5 sets per exercise, which is a lot of volume. Now, they're all going to have a rep drop off, and quite possibly I will need to do down sets at the end, which will enable me to keep the reps in that 5+ range. So let's say I'm doing some chest supported rows. Well, what am I doing today? Today's a back day, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I forgot. Okay, let's say I'm doing chest supported rows today. So let's say I've got 3.5 plates on the row machine. I bash out, say, I don't know, 10, then 8, then 5. And I still got 2 sets to go. And I know full well there's no chance I'm getting above 5 on the 4th set because I'm just like, I've got a good pump on. My back is fatigued. It's disrupted. It feels great. So I'll take a bit of weight off for the 4th and 5th set to enable me to keep the reps above 5. And that way I can keep repping out good quality sets. That is what a down set is. So you got a couple of choices there. As long as you're above 5, you're good. But if you're going to go below 5, then do a down set. Turn it into a down set. Second question is regarding, he says he can't gauge RPE on squats for the life of me. He said before doing the wizard, he did a set of 8 reps with 130 on the high bar squat. He says, keep going, keep going. He got to 9. He had to take 2 breaths between each of the last 9 reps, but it just goes to prove I can't accurately gauge RPE on squats. Right. Basically, Daniel, the thing is here is, this is another video I'm going to do. This is great. I mean, you guys don't realize how exciting this is for me, because it's like being a school teacher again. Like you're getting it. You're like getting it. So the next thing that you need to know about is intra-set rest periods. Intra-set rest periods is how long you rest between your reps. Now, Daniel said he kept resting. He rested longer and longer between his repetitions. Don't do that. Don't do that. What? Because that additional breath that you take is allowing you to recover a little bit more strength to do one more rep. But you don't need that. That's not what you're aiming for. You're aiming to go to failure. You're not aiming to rest longer and longer between reps to allow you to do more reps. You want to go to failure or close to failure. You don't want to artificially elevate that time by increasing your intra-set rest periods, because that means you're adding more and more stress to the set. You don't need that. Just keep going. I know it hurts, and I know you'd rather breathe 1 or 2 more times to get another rep. Don't. Keep going. Keep the intra-set rest periods the same. That's the only way this stuff works. Otherwise, you're getting into the zone where these sets become grueling. Because, and it's very, very difficult. Firstly, it's very difficult to actually evaluate your progress. So if you did 9 reps one week and you did 10 reps the next week, but you took more rest in between reps, how do we know it's progress? We don't. All we know is you got more repetitions because you rested longer. Now, the other thing is an exponentially higher level of stress, because the rest you take is 1 more rep, potentially past failure. You should have failed or stopped at the 9th rep. You rest for a bit, you do another one. You rest for a bit and do another one. No way. That's way too much. Way too much. I admire the enthusiasm, like I really do. If I was if I was next to you at the gym, I'd be clapping you along. But I mean, from a bro lifter point of view, love it. But from a coach point of view, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Do the set with solid intra-set rest periods. Keep them consistent. I normally have 1 breath at the top. I mean, again, go onto my Instagram, check out I put all my lifts up right now, and you'll see that I keep the rest periods the same. Particularly look at things like the hack squat. You'll see it there. The hack squats are painful. I go up to the top, I lock out my legs, and I go back. I just never stop. And I go right to the point where I'm working hard as I want to. But yeah, don't do that. That will crush you. Don't do that at all, ever. Pretty much ever, I would say. Not for hypertrophy. Okay, Arabi Ahmed says, hi Faz. He is wanting to know when he goes up in weight. Again, good question, because he's asking about the rep drop off. So he says, let's say he gets 976. At what point do you raise the weight? Cool, that's an easy question. Really easy. You raise the weight next week when you've hit the top of the rep range. So if I'm coaching you and I've said your rep range is 5 to 10, once you get 10 on the first set, great. Go up next week. Voila. Easy. It's that easy. So you might get, say, 10, 7, 5. Cool. Go up. And again, if you're doing what I said with Daniel, you're keeping your rest periods, your intra-set rest periods constant, that's enough. Because that'll be a good clean set and it's enough. So again, very easy answer. Richard says, hi Faz, love the monthly Q&A. All your books are great and have the best front covers of any training books I've ever seen. Can you tell us all about the cool covers? Basically, they are artwork. It's like free artwork that I get from online, like public sourced artwork that I get based on just like characters in video games that I like. I mean, these ones that I've got for this series is Street Fighter, which is I used to play when I was a kid in the old arcade games, and other ones are like World of Warcraft figures or in those kind of like fantasy inspired type of things. Yeah, so I think I've talked about that before. About because I've played. I was an original sort of vanilla World of Warcraft player. It's a funny joke about that. How can you tell if somebody used to play in vanilla? They'll tell you. So I just did it. But anyway, so I took a break for a long time when I was in my 30s because I was far too serious with work and all that kind of stuff. And actually recently picked it up again, mostly to relax. So I play for a few hours on a Saturday just to relax a little bit. But it's nice. I go in, I do what I want to do, and I dip out again. It's a bit of escapism. It's like fantasy, reality, all that stuff. So it's fun. That I stopped for a long time because I just thought, I'm older now. I'm far too serious for this. I can't be childish and play video games. But it's funny as I got closer to 40, I was like, no, actually, you know what? I need to relax. Like I do. My job is, I wouldn't say stressful. I love my job, but it's a busy job. So I'm constantly creating content, writing back to clients, all that kind of stuff, writing new programs and things. So it's a busy job. So I need time to relax. So that's why it's a little escapism for me. So that's what I like to do. So it's quite geeky, but I think it's fine. I think as long as you're not playing it too much and letting it take over your life, because I think a lot of people get very addicted to it. But it's just a bit of fun. So I like it. And then one of the reasons the game appealed to me was I like the lore behind it, the story behind it. And so the covers are relations to the stories. So I was always attracted to the darker side of those things, like the undeads and all that kind of stuff. I just found that stuff cool. So anyway, there you go. Now you know. All right, folks, I'm going to call it there. I love all of you guys. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Check out my other content, my podcast, which comes out every Friday, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter. I'm a one man, pretty much do everything. And great. Love you guys. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.